Guys being cute. So this is the reason why I've been a bit busy lately. But now we're settled. And for the next 30 days, you're gonna follow me along on my training and my recovery and my preparation for my Boston BQ. Let's go. What is up, party people? As I mentioned, gonna do a daily vlog over my lead up to my BQ. Where we're at today is we are at a nearby high school. I'm getting on the track and I have got a track workout today. So I've got 2 miles warmed up, 7 miles at 6:40, and then 2 miles cool down. We train at altitude. I'm at 6,000 feet. So that 6:40 is really gonna be something much lower at sea level and on a net downhill course. So hoping that I can attack this workout and have a good session in today. And honestly, when I'm able to have workouts like this, it really boosts my confidence when they turn out successfully, and I feel pretty good today. The reason I haven't been posting as much is because we just had our 2 baby boys 2 months ago, and the last 8 weeks have been a joy and have been absolute chaos. The mornings, I'm waking up early in the morning instead of just locking in, focusing on my run, because that's when I usually like to run. I am balancing feeding them, trying to get them back down to sleep, trying to squeeze in a run, and then getting back to them for another feed before then I have to head over and hop online and get ready for work. So it's just a lot, and I'm not recovering well, not getting nearly as much sleep. But I think we're starting to hit a stride now where we're in somewhat of a groove, even though sleep is low and recovery is low. So and again, it's really important to me. I really want to document this and get this out there because I feel like most of us are like the rest of us. There's people out there who are interested in qualifying for the Boston Marathon, and they want to know what it takes and what others have done or are doing. And so I just want to get this content out there. So yeah, we're going to hit this workout today. We've got a long run this weekend. I believe I've got a 20 miler. The last couple of weeks, we're ramping back up in mileage because I had a recovery week about 3 weeks ago where we dipped into the high 40s, low 50s. Last week was 64 miles. This week is 67 miles. My coach is a huge slacker right now, and I don't know what my programming is for next week. No, I'm joking. Bryce also has a newborn. He and his wife just welcomed their daughter, Stony, also about a couple months ago. So he's been giving me all of my training and programming a week at a time or a couple weeks at a time. So I still don't know what we have in store for next week, but I can guess that we're going to be just slightly above 70 miles. And yeah, just focusing on more miles on the legs, lots more time each week at marathon pace, which is targeted to be 6:40 or less, because we're coming for that sub 2:55, baby. Still playing around with what my true goal time is going to be. Obviously, for consideration for Boston this year, we got to go sub 2:55. However, we know that depending upon applicants and how successful people are at hitting the time, they cut it even deeper. And so just a cursory glance, it's been, anywhere from no cut to a couple of minutes extra time has needed to come off. So playing around with the idea of going for, maybe 252, 253, but I have to be wise about that because, just because I say it doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? And if I go out too hot, that's going to make me bonk, make me miss my time. So we really have to be intentional about what am I capable of, what's gonna what's going to put me in the best position to finish strong, while also trying not to leave too much on the table, because God forbid if I run a sub 255 but miss the BQ cutoff by a second, that's gonna be horrible. So still trying to play around and figure out what it's gonna take to leave everything out on the table and give myself the best shot of truly being able to race in Boston next year. The other thing that I'll add is I made some videos on it, but obviously it hasn't been released yet. But I was able to go out to the course just outside of Seattle and was able to do a little bit of a time trial. So the course itself is a point-to-point, and so I drove out there and it was just me. I was on a work trip, and because it's a point-to-point, I needed to log, I think, a 24-mile run. This was about maybe 6 weeks ago. And so I talked to my coach and I told him, hey, after my last meeting on my last day of my work trip, I can log some miles, and it might be beneficial to just see how fast I can run a half marathon out there. And he was all for it. So I ended up actually running a full marathon, and the goal was to basically do a half marathon at a 95% effort. But then I had to run it back. Again, point to point. So, and my car was parked at the start line. So I ran out there hard and then was absolutely spent and jog walked it back and caught my flight a couple hours later. Did not sleep. But that turned out to be hugely beneficial, at least for my mental, because what I ended up running was a 1:25:10, by far a PR for me. I had never run under a 1:30 before that, but frankly, I hadn't really done a half marathon at all effort for at least a couple of years. So I wasn't surprised that I was below 1:30. My goal was to go to 1:25, but what I wanted to balance was get to a 1:25 while not going all out. My goal was to be no more than 95% effort. I feel like I could have maintained that pace that I was at for another 3 to 4 miles. I remember consciously thinking that after I finished. So it's given me a lot of confidence. So with that data point, I'm thinking we could potentially go out on the marathon and try and run a 1:26 the first half, really throttle back a bit, maybe even a 1:26:30, and then try and negative split it and run another 1:26 or a 1:25. But I think that gives me a really good shot. So anyways, that brings us to where we're at today. We've got just over 4 weeks to get this work done. I'm gonna be just sharing my thoughts, my outlook, and my training for this BQ. I think that right now, as it stands today, I'm in really good position. I feel really confident, but confidence is only a piece of it. I still got to train well, still got to make sure that I keep my body healthy. I want to make sure that I'm fresh, I'm not feeling injured, I have no aches and pains. But I think we're on the right track, and I think that in 4 weeks I have a real good opportunity to give it all that I got, and we'll see where it goes. So for the next 30 days, you can follow along, see what it's like to attempt a Boston qualifying time while balancing twins, balancing entrepreneurship with helping run the gym that my wife and I own, and then maintaining a full-time job. Look, if I can do this, anybody can. So again, just being able to share my experience, it allows other people to know what it takes and who can actually do this stuff, which is people just like you. So I'm hoping that this bodes well for me, and that this also bodes well for you, that it gives everybody some confidence, and seeing is believing. So anyways, here's to the next 30 days and getting ready for a BQ, baby. Let's go. Ended up going 2-mile warm up, 7 miles at 6:43, so a little bit slower than I wanted to, and then a 2-mile cool down. Still hit the stimulus. I just didn't have it all in me, which again, so it's like whenever you're training for your first marathon or any marathon at all, it's really easy to have your day or your week ruined if you don't hit your numbers. The important thing is I didn't leave anything out there. I don't feel like I could have gone faster. That's what I had in me. So I think that was a true test of my performance and my capabilities today. And that's what you got to hang your hat on. And then, you know, after it gets loaded to Strava, my feedback was, you know, it was the second or third fastest 10K that I've ever run. So while I didn't hit 6:40, I still need to be able to just pause, look back, and understand where I'm coming from. I need to be happy with the progress that I am making, even if I'm not hitting the numbers in my training plan. So keep that in mind when you guys are training, when you're, you know, shooting for Boston, and you're training for any marathon at all, or any race at all. The last thing that I'll say is, again, 6:40 is what I was trying to hit today. And if you're familiar with the times and you're doing some math and you're like, Chase, you're not even close to what's required for running a full marathon at sub 2:55, you got to keep in mind that we're almost at 7,000 feet of elevation. And then there's a net drop at the marathon that I'm running that's just over 1,500 feet. Yeah, just over 1,500 feet. So when you put all of that together, I could throw it in ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT says that for every 1,000 feet of elevation that you're running at, if you were to run at sea level, that's an extra 2 to 3 seconds per 1,000 feet to get you to an equivalent at sea level. So simple math would be, that would be like 12-ish seconds to 18 seconds off of my 6:43. So that's really like running, you know, a 6:30 or faster if I were to run somewhere flat like in Indiana. But then on top of that, if I had a 1 to 2% decline during that run, I bet that's another 10-15 seconds, you know? So that effort translated to the course that I'm gonna run is really like running this 6:15 maybe. So that's just the perspective that I have to have for where I train and where I'm going to be racing. So that's why I don't get too down on where I'm at. I train in just a really hard area. The air is thin. So, but I'd rather have it this way than the other way around, obviously. So we're gonna keep moving forward. Good training day. We'll see what we have in store next. We'll see what we have in store for tomorrow. All right.